Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the full impact of the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic will be felt in September. Many Jamaicans have lost their jobs or been laid off since the first case of the disease was reported on March 10. The government has been trying to restore the economy despite the continued risk of COVID-19. However, Mr. Holness says Jamaicans will face even more pressure when schools resume.
And that is when we will see the full impact of the economic fallout from the crisis, when our hard-working Jamaican people have to figure out how are we going to send our children back to school. And not just back to school normally. This is going back to school now with a new normal.
Mr. Holness was speaking yesterday at the groundbreaking ceremony for the St. Catherine Estate housing development. He acknowledged that many persons are now having doubts about their ability to own a home.
You would have been put on half pay. Some of you are now staring redundancies in the face. So the economic challenges that we have has not escaped me as Prime Minister. And so we have to restructure the government to ensure that we can focus on our economic recovery while at the same time maintaining the successful management of the pandemic.
The opposition People's National Party, the PNP, is accusing the government of suppressing the crime statistics. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Peter Bunting, blasted the government for its handling of crime in the country.
Because it's not working, their answer is don't talk about it. So can you imagine there was a press conference on Sunday morning, I believe it was, to announce these new states of emergency. And the figures that the Commissioner of Police trotted out in terms of reductions were break-ins, larceny. Now, the truth of the matter is, if everybody is locked in at home, there's going to be less opportunities for break-ins. That has nothing to do with states of emergency.
Mr. Bunting says the move is aimed at diverting attention from the real figures.
Sleight of hand, that's deflection, that's, trying to divert the attention of the media and the public, as well as the public narrative about the crime issue.
Security consultant Robert Finzi-Smith says Jamaica needs a more intelligence-driven approach in the fight against crime. He believes that approach could help security forces conduct effective operations. Mr. Finzi-Smith was speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica on Thursday morning.
Everything has to be intelligence-driven, and I mean that in both ways. Not only information, but the way we use it.
Explain that.
I know that Neville Bell has a gun. I don't run down on Neville Bell immediately, and he has probably hidden it so well I can't find it. I observe him, and whilst doing so, I see if Neville keeps going to Dahlia's yard. So there's a distinct possibility Dahlia is involved. So I now start putting surveillance, electronic and otherwise, on Dahlia. And when I have sufficient linkages where I have completed the circle, I then move. You don't move in a reactionary way and get Neville and lose Dahlia and company.
He argues that while the states of emergency are crime-fighting tools, they're not as effective. Mr. Finzi-Smith said the solutions to the country's crime problem are evident and that political administrations are not willing to tackle the root cause of the problem. He believes there is a deliberate attempt to maintain the levels of crime.
Maybe somebody has done a mathematical equation that says if I can just keep the lid as far as I can onto the jar of this boiling cauldron for just a little longer, I'll be dead and gone. It'll be somebody else's problem. In the meantime, I make sure my children set up.
The vendors whose fruits and vegetables and market equipment were destroyed by Metropolitan Police officers on Tuesday may be compensated for their loss. There was condemnation after a video of the incident was circulated on social media. Action has also been taken against the metropolitan officers involved. Giovanni Dennis reports.
Some describe it as malicious destruction of property. A Metropolitan Police officer taking a sledgehammer to vendors' carts and goods on Fletcher's Avenue in the Linstead Market in St. Catherine.
All the umbrella, with scale, goods, everything gone, daddy. You see it? Everything gone. Can't mash up everything.
At all levels, the reaction is the same. Condemnation. From vendors.
Then thing not right, daddy. They make sure when they come to daddy, right, that's so them are going to take pick. Me not understand what I go.
The municipal corporation.
What I saw transpired yesterday is not a policy of this municipality. And such, I condemn such action and behavior.
And even the Prime Minister.
In a time when everybody is struggling, the last thing that we want to see is any arm of the state in any way, shape or form brutalizing our people.
And so within 48 hours, the Prime Minister had requested and received a report from the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation Chairman, Norman Scott, and the officers involved in the incident were suspended. One vendor, Philip, told us what happened that day.
We were there, the little selling, make sure them come and say if we stop and then them start corral me and everything, you know, right there, so. And they start show everything on the van and me I tell them, say, talk to me decent and we can know what to do better, you see me?
However, he says there was no more talking as the officers decided to take drastic action by destroying everything. But Mayor Scott says that's not in keeping with the corporation's policy.
The municipal corporation doesn't have a policy of destroying equipment, and I speak of equipment as stalls and carts. We don't do those things. We seize carts and we confiscate goods.
He says that's why he immediately asked for a report, and after meeting with the local government minister, took the decision to suspend the officers involved. But what of the vendors?
The whole umbrella, then gone with one umbrella what we buy have is 6 grand. You check out a scale at 3,005. Carrot at 200 and 250 a pound. Irish at 250. You know how much he goods them, daddy? I trust the people them goods, daddy. People them look for money back from with them goods, you know. I end the day, trust the goods them. You see me, general. And responsibility they out the same way. Debts they out the same way. Can't mash up, I have to pay for the same way. Everything, you see me, says like a problem them left me in one bag of stress, you see me.
I'm hoping to meet with the vendor to compensate the vendor as it relates to the goods and the handcart.
It's not clear if that meeting has been held or if the vendors have been compensated as yet. Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
We take a break now on Midday News. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Simon Preston from TVJ. Thank you very much for watching our YouTube channel. To see our latest videos and also to see live events, click here. To see our full videos on onespotmedia.com, click here.
Welcome back, continuing the news. Another call this afternoon for farmers to diversify their business as one way to adapt to the added problems from climate change. The matter was discussed at a recent meeting with farmers in rural St. Catherine. Krista Campbell has more.
If you're wondering why you're not seeing some crops bear the way they used to over a decade ago, it's probably because of climate change. It's caused more severe droughts across the island over the past 8 to 10 years and for longer periods. Parish Manager for the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, Ruth Barrett, says poor agricultural practices like slash and burn continue to worsen climate change impact. She says the quality of some soil has depleted, while pests and diseases have put more pressure on certain crops. Bananas and plantains have been particularly affected. And as part of measures to adapt to this new reality of climate change, Ms. Barrett wants farmers to diversify.
So if you have a plot of land and you plant some, let's say you plant some sweet potato, I would encourage farmers to do value addition, right? So you don't only sell the raw produce as sweet potato anymore, you slice and you package, because everybody wants convenience these days, right? So for a lot of the housewives or the working mothers, you're coming home in the evening, you really don't have time to peel the sweet potato. So that's a niche market for you. So you slice them, you package them, and you sell them to these persons.
Minister without portfolio with responsibility for agriculture, J.C. Hutchinson, has been pushing for more value-added products, which would see farmers with excess bananas producing things like banana chips and banana porridge. And with much preparation for the September reopening of schools amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, he insists diversification will be especially good for excess crops which would normally go to waste.
If you have cabbage, if you have cucumber, we go and make lettuce cucumber juice. Plenty of you might not have heard it. Cucumber juice is one of the nicest things. And you have plenty of fruits and vegetables that drop off the tree all around. We want to get them during the season here, process them, make them into juice. So September, we have fruit juice instead of the bag juice.
Meanwhile, with plans to provide more markets closer to farmers, he stressed that those in the agricultural sector must work harder to address the problem of crop distribution.
You have a lot of things here that oversupply. But we in St. Elizabeth might not have the produce that you have here. We don't have banana. We don't have plantain. So we would like to get some of that there. You mightn't have cabbage. You mightn't have lettuce. You mightn't have watermelon. We can transport that here.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.